This is my ethical perspective video. First, I'm going to talk about my personal philosophy when it comes to ethics and how I'm managing people and within the company and within the culture, how I can apply to my personal ethics. First off, my personal ethics definitely follows more of a deontological theory. This theory focuses on the person's ethical duty when it comes to knowing information, knowing the situation, and stuff like that. This means you're binded to your principles regardless of the consequences and what your decisions will cause. And also focuses on being honest. And the book gave a great example of this whenever telling the story about an auditor coming in to audit the company's financial statements. Even though as an auditor you have to remain unbiased and everything, you could still, if you know someone in the company, you can still skew those financials. And with being a deontological theory perspective on ethics, you would do the right thing no matter what the consequences are, and regardless of those consequences. Telling the truth and being honest have always been instilled in me as far as growing up in my childhood. I was raised in a very rural, conservative and Christian home where the main staple statement was, we always do unto others as you would have them do to you. This is parents, pastors, friends, parents, anybody. This was the statement that they always gave us. And based on those religious backgrounds and stuff like that, I try to incorporate that into every part of my life as far as that. And even in the workplace, that's a very challenging thing to do. And in the workplace, you have everybody else coming with their ethical perspectives and clashing with yours. You have some people that you get along with would have the same ethical perspective. So that's a real challenge when faced going into an organization's culture, new culture, finding out what they believe, what they think is ethical, reading their ethical codes is very important and stuff like that, or code of ethics. And learning what they would do in those ethical dilemmas and trying to cross-reference that against your own personal to find what's going to be the best for that situation. And this can be even more difficult whenever you're going into a company that has very little ethical guidelines and don't really have a code of ethics, and this would be very, very difficult to do. You have to rely a lot on your personal ethics, and hopefully that matches exactly what they would do if the company was in an ethical dilemma. And as a manager myself, definitely relying on my personal ethics, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm gonna have to deal with in my conscience and be guilt-free with. So as long as I am following my own personal ethics, I hope that the company would agree with how I acted in the ethical dilemma or situation I was faced in. So that kind of just gives you a broad overview of my ethical beliefs, what I believe, how I came to those beliefs. Definitely rely heavily on my religious views as far as with those ethical guidelines that I would follow, those morals and principles. And if I were ever faced with a ethical dilemma at work, I would definitely refer to the code of ethics that they have, and also cross-reference that against my own personal ethics would be very key to do when faced with those challenges as a manager.